Recording construction number 7. Here we go. Let me label this. Am I zoomed in too much? Yeah. Construction number 7. Divide a segment into equal parts. All right, here we go. First thing we do is give ourselves a ray. I'd like to make my ray horizontal, like that. You don't have to, actually. You can make it in any fashion you would like. But I like to make mine horizontal. All right, then I put a random angle and length of segment down here. Does not matter how much we do. Either the width of this angle or how long the segment is, doesn't matter. Okay, so now, AJ, you get to decide. You get to decide how many parts do you want us to divide this segment into? 4 parts. Okay, thank you, AJ. So 4 equal parts. Now, since that's an even number, we could just bisect, right? But we're not doing it that way. We're doing it another way. All right. 4 equal parts. Alrighty, so does it matter what my width is right here? Natalie, do you remember me saying that? Does it matter? It doesn't matter. It just needs to fit onto the ray. Okay, so whatever width I want, does not matter what my compass width is, but I'm going to go watch up here first, and then you guys can do it at your desk. 1, and then I go right where that intersected and just do it again. 2, 3, 4. All right, I'll let you do that. Everyone got it? 4 equal parts? Okay, then we connect. Now this is the part you got to get right, because you can lead a bunch of headaches later if you don't get it right. We connect the last arc to the end point. We connect the last arc to the end point. All right, now I'm going to think ahead to help you keep things straight. I'm going to copy this angle at each arc. Now I'm making a little mark here because I can get lost later on. Later on, you're going to see it and you'll be like, oh yeah, that helped. So go ahead and make a little shade mark like I did, because this is where we're going to be copying the angle. All right, now we're going to copy the angle at each spot. So this angle right here is getting copied. You're welcome to turn the paper if you want. I don't turn the paper on this. And it is helpful to make this, don't make it too small. It's hard to copy a small angle. So I want to make this arc a little bit wider. And all I need to do is intersect both sides. Now, my compass is moving a little bit, so hold on. Let me get this right where I want it. That's where I want it. Now, I'm going to do that same arc. All the spots. It just saves me a little bit of time. Can you guys see where it is? My hand in the way? Okay. Let me pause there. Make sure you guys are okay with that. JT, you got it? Okay. Now, when we're copying an angle, what we do next is like the width of the angle. So, Hallie, I'm literally, look at me. I'm literally going to just widen out my compass as much as needed to match how much the angle is open. Does that make sense? And so my compass is going to determine or measure the width of the angle. That's how I like to say it. So I come back to here. I'm going to put the sharp point where it intersects this side, and I want the lead to intersect the other. Oh, that's almost perfect. Let me go a little bit smaller. There we go. Natalie, does that make sense that the compass is the same width of the angle? Can you see that right there? Does that make sense? So then I'm going to go from each point of intersection and get another point of intersection down here. Now it gets confusing, so try and keep it straight. Lily, does that make sense? All right, so all my arcing is done with the compass. Now I'm going to use the straight edge for the rest. But see, now there's a lot of stuff going on up here, right? So you got to keep it straight. Where am I connecting? I'm connecting where I highlighted it, that point of intersection. I would also describe this as the original arc. That's the original arc. And then I connect it to the point of intersection to copy the angle. And I do it at each one. And they should look parallel. I'm going to turn the orientation of it. Do they look parallel? AJ, what do you think? That one's a little off, isn't it? Yeah, they're okay. I would agree. I would give it an okay. I wouldn't say it's outstanding, but I would say it's okay. On a quiz, would this be 100%? Yes, because remember, even if your compass goes kaput, as long as you show the arcs in the right spots, that demonstrates your understanding, then you're good. Caden, how's yours look?
Oh, that's amazing.
Case, look over at Caden's and give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Oh, wait a minute.
He's like, oh, wait, backtrack. All right, we good there? What do you think, Case? How do you do? That is pretty good. Yeah. All right, let's do another one. All right, let's make a ray. Natalie, you can't choose 4, but I want you to choose. She says 5. That's what we're doing then, guys. All right, so here we go. Give a good ray. Segment. Does it matter the angle for the segment? Nope. Does it matter how long the segment is? Nope. Just random length. But now, 5 equal parts. That was Natalie's choice. All right, here we go again. I use a random length. Now remember, I got to think ahead a little bit. I don't want it so large that I can't get 5 segments onto the ray. You know what I mean? But I also don't want it so small that it makes it hard to copy the angle. So I want to try and get it just, it's all about estimation. I want 5 of them. That looks about right. 1, 2, 3, 4, Boy, that was a pretty good estimation, Coach Bennett. Thank you. 5 of them. Conyers, does that make sense? Yeah. All right. What do we do next? This is an important step. Anybody remember?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember? Anybody? Yep. You remember, Caden?
Yeah, I don't even know what it's called. I know.
Connect
Yeah.
the last arc. I'm going to use a different color this time. Connect the last arc to the end point. Connect the last arc to the end point. Now, what that really did is that created an angle. So this is the angle that I'm going to copy right here. Where am I going to copy it at? The other arcs. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mark. Remember, because it gets confusing out there. So I'm going to make a mark to help me for later. I'm copying the angle at all those spots. Alex, that makes sense? Does that make sense? Okay. Now I go to the actual mechanical part of copying an angle, like we did last Tuesday. So I'm going to pick out a random width on my compass, and then I'm going to make some marks here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't let your compass move. 5. JT, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this is like the actual part of the width of the angle. This is the most important part. So I'm going to find the width of the angle that I'm copying with my compass. Like right here, that's too short. I'm going to go a little wider. Oh, that looks pretty good right there. That's pretty precise. Can you guys see that without my hand in the way? Hallie, you see that right there? That's the width between the rays of the angle. Okay, I go down then and I don't get it in the wrong spot. I'm going to come up with points of intersection. Everyone see the points of intersection? Now, this is where that marking with the highlighter comes in play. Otherwise, I get confused. I'm going from this point to that point of intersection. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 equal parts, which means this part and this part and this part and that part, they're all the same. They should look alike. The lines should look parallel. Ooh, I think I did better on this one, AJ. What do you think? Yeah. Yep, that one's better. A little bit of self-analysis. 5 equal parts. Can you do this tomorrow on the quiz? From scratch. Like I may say, divide a segment into 5 equal parts, and then you got to start fresh. Can you guys do that on the quiz tomorrow? Mia, can you do that from scratch?
Probably.
He's like, I think so.
It might not be parallel, but
As long as you got the arcs, remember? Even if your compass goes kaput. Okay, that's enough of that one. Let's move on to medians. Okay, so medians. Does anybody in here have their driver's license? Shiloh? This isn't the part where you drive. Stay out of the median, Shiloh, when you're driving your car.
That's right.
I bet you do. You don't want to drive in the median. No, this is in geometry. This is a segment which connects a vertex to the midpoint. There's a good important term of the opposite side. A segment which connects a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. Median. Okay, well, then that means we've got to use an acute triangle. So give yourself an acute triangle. Doesn't have to be equilateral or isosceles. It can be. Doesn't matter. Just an acute triangle. And our first order of business to construct a median is we have to find the midpoints. Okay, well, to find the midpoint, we actually utilize the perpendicular bisector construction. So I'm going to do the perpendicular bisector of this bottom side here. So to do that, we've done this quite a bit last couple days. I make sure it's over halfway, and I make this little half arc here. And I can do that from that vertex and also from this vertex. And it gives me a nice little symbol. It looks like the fish symbol, doesn't it? Okay. I'm going to give myself a dot there and a dot here, and I'm going to use a straight edge to connect. And that is the perpendicular bisector. But more importantly for today's construction, that's the midpoint. Which means it bisects the side into two equal parts. So we're going to label that as M1. Have I done anything yet to draw in the median? No. I've just found the midpoint. Okay. Now I'm going to literally draw in the median by connecting the midpoint to the vertex of the opposite side. There's the median. So that segment that's in pink is the actual median. Everyone got it? We got 3 of them. Let's do the other 2. Now, I like to turn the paper so that the one I'm doing has got a horizontal orientation. I just think it's easier to do that way. All right, let's go to each vertex. Make sure it's more than halfway. That needs to be widened out a little bit. All right, I'm going to do an arc, kind of almost a semicircle, a quarter arc right there. I'm going to do it from both vertices, is the plural term, vertex, vertices. Put a dot there, put a dot there. Connect them. I just constructed the perpendicular bisector, but more importantly, I found midpoint number 2. M sub 2. Midpoint number 2. That's not the median though, is it? That's just the midpoint. So to do the midpoint, I connect the, to do the median, I connect the midpoint to the vertex opposite. There's the median. I have 2 medians done, 1 to go. I'm going to turn the page so I have a horizontal orientation. Make sure my compass is over halfway. Make a big arc. Whatever I do to one side, I'm doing to the other. Like the fish symbol, big arc. I have a dot here and a dot here. Connect those two. That's perpendicular bisector, but more importantly, that is midpoint number 3. Let's connect midpoint number 3 to the opposite vertex. And now we are done. Do you think they're concurrent? They sure are. Look at that. Woo, baby. Let's focus in. See how close that is. That's pretty close, isn't it? I'd say it's just a little bit to the right. Just a little smidge. Just a little bit. Sometimes that's all it takes, though, to miss a little putt, though, isn't it, AJ? Just that little smidge. We've all done it. Okay, questions on doing the median? Finding the medians of a triangle. All right, we're going to do another one. You guys know my pattern. What kind of triangle are we going to use now? An obtuse. Give yourself an obtuse triangle. If you're confident, go ahead and start doing the medians. We're labeling our masterpiece artwork. Here we go. Mira's like, that's not a masterpiece. All right, as long as it's over halfway, we're good to go. That's over halfway. So big arc there. Big arc there. Point of intersection above and below. Dot, dot, connect. That gives us our midpoint. M1. I'll connect. I'm going to get a different color. Ooh, yeah, this one shows up pretty good. We'll do blue. Now we go from the midpoint to the vertex of the opposite the midpoint. And there's the median. All right, I'm going to turn my paper now so this orientation is horizontal. As long as I'm over halfway. I don't have a lot of room on my paper, so I'm going to try and be close to halfway. Go to both vertices. Make a fish symbol. Connect. Label the point there M2. That's midpoint number 2. Connect midpoint. With the opposite vertice. And we got 2 medians done. 1 to go. This is the long one. If this were a right triangle, I would call this the hypotenuse because it's the longest side, but it's not a right triangle. It's an obtuse. I'm gonna have to widen out my compass on this one because we got to go over halfway. Whoa! The compass is screaming at me. I've never been this wide. All right, big arc. Go to this vertice. Big arc. Make a dot and connect. Dot Where it intersects is M3. Now we connect that to the opposite vertex, and it should be concurrent. Oh my goodness, Mia, that is artwork. Look at that. Look at that beautiful intersection. I mean, All right. Moment of truth. Let me come around and see how close yours is. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you. Quiz tomorrow.